can't. I can hear now.
Well, the intro. Hey.
I can't click any links in my. It's weird.
Can you give us some music at least?
I got it this way.
Don't. He might start singing.
Welcome to Buddies and Banter, the
Thought we
Uncensored
were gonna change
Podcast,
this.
where our topics are raw, our opinions are strong, and our filters are definitely off.
And the intro sucks.
Yeah, whatever, Michael. But we'll fix it eventually. I mean, we're just still learning the live portion of it.
Yeah, but it
Yeah,
still
man, we're still
sucks.
See, the idea would be to actually do the intro live every time, so it's always different.
I'm for that, but we haven't changed it.
Well, this is our second time going live, so give us some time.
Yeah, give us some time, man. We got a full bar here today. That's exciting.
We do, actually.
And ice.
See, the idea is that Michael doesn't have to actually leave.
Yeah, they don't have to have their bitch get up and get the drink.
Well, I wouldn't call you my bitch. I mean, I call you the bartender. Wow. Okay, so here it is. It is March 30th, the last day of March, correct?
Nope, we got one more day. It's tomorrow.
Oh, 31st, you're right. Okay.
It's a long ass
Well, it's
month.
the last weekend of March. And do we have a shitload to talk about since the last time we were actually live?
We do?
Oh, yeah. I mean, definitely we've got, the situation of the Mavs. We have the situations where the Stars. Then we've got, obviously, March Madness. And then, of course, everything on politics.
By the way, great game. Even though both teams were sucking ass, it was it was tied the whole time.
Which game?
The game that Rick and I went to. Had a blast.
Oh, that's been like that for the Mavs for like
Had a
consistently
blast.
for the last 2 weeks.
It was tied like the whole time.
You know.
I got shit faced that night, bro.
Well,
What's different than any other time you go?
everybody did.
I got annihilated.
Everybody did. I mean,
And then didn't Kara get sick on the
Yep.
way twice?
Yo.
yeah, let's talk about that just a little bit here.
Annihilated.
Because there was obviously some confusion when I went to go pay the tabs out, the comps and all that.
There was?
Well, hear me out. I mean, nothing bad. I was confused because the way Gus was putting the tab in front of me, and it's like, well, pick a percentage and all of this for gratuity, and I'm like, I never do that. I mean, and I'm holding a $100 bill because that's what I'm going to give him as gratuity.
Right.
I was like, I don't understand. Apparently, our girl drinking Hendrix
Oh, was it on the list?
doubles. Oh no, it's always on the list. Anything's on the list. It's just apparently that's one of the most expensive ones out there. And he's like, that girl can drink.
He didn't say anything. I mean,
Well, no, and he wouldn't. He wouldn't. I mean, and he wasn't being negative when he brought it up either way.
No.
I mean, I was just confused to the point whereas the next day or two. When you went,
No. Is that when you got home? You said Gus was acting weird.
Well, no. I talked about it. I talked about it when I got home for sure. But when you went to the next game,
Yeah, which is the
and
next
you had,
day.
and you had conversation with him, and he kind of explained what. Then just like light bulb went off. It's like, oh, well, that makes sense. So I had a text. I was like,
But-
dude, did I give you enough tip?
But
That's
but,
funny.
But he was tanked when he got home too.
well,
he
we
was-
were too tanked
Well,
to
oh,
even
no,
have
I-
a
well,
dialogue
no, I got it.
regarding
Yeah,
at the
because
time.
it's like he was on there and it's just like you could just tell he was just toasted.
Oh,
And then-
absolutely.
And
I
then he was
mean-
saying Gus was acting weird. He's doing this, have to do a tip. I got the $100, and it's just I don't understand. He says Gus was just acting weird.
I saw Gus the next night at Papa Roach.
I wasn't as drunk as those two. And the interesting thing about it is they walked me to my car. And it wasn't because I was drunk. It was because my damn knee was acting up. I
Right.
couldn't stand. I mean, it kept giving out on me. So I don't know if it had something to do with the alcohol or not. But, I mean, bottom line is, we none of us should have driven. That's for sure.
So I mean, because the key is I've got the 2 vouchers, and no matter what happens, Gus tries to make whatever we drink fit the
Well, and
vouchers.
Caesar tickets get discounts as well. So he figures all that into it. And he has a science to it. And I wasn't aware of it when he's asking for what percentage of gratuity. Why would I want a percentage? I'm giving you a $100 bill.
But sometimes because depending, I guess, on the volume,
Yeah.
he can't make it where it fits with those 2
don't
vouchers
know.
that you got to do more.
It was like a $400 night, all in.
And so then what I mean. So
Well, yours and mine were fine.
No, I just mean combined. Because we went to the pre-party.
Oh, yeah.
at
We went to the
tavern.
pub. Yeah.
Then we went to the game. Then we went back to the tavern.
Yes. we
the
went to
pub.
the pub. Yeah.
I
almost didn't,
So the
though.
next day, I was at the game, and so then I was asking Gus, I said, how'd it go last night? He goes, that girl could drink. I said, and she drank a lot. And it was the expensive stuff. And I said, well, just to
I
let
don't
you
think
know.
Hendrix is that expensive. It's like the next tier up from the bottom.
Well, that's-
Again,
you're
when
talking
you
about
start
the AA.
when she was doing doubles.
Gotcha. I didn't know.
She was doing doubles. That's what it is.
Sorry, I
I
lost my
mean,
drink. Here it is.
and it's not about the price at all, to be perfectly honest. It's just like the fact that she was doing doubles, that concerns me. And obviously getting sick explains it.
So then he said, because he said it was like, I was trying to get it under the vouchers, but I was having a hard time because it was just so expensive.
Right.
I told him, I said, just let him pay the extra, the over the top or whatever,
Yeah.
because that's what he did one time when I started buying some drinks for people. Then it's like, it went over a little, so I gave my card.
But I
or
mean,
whatever.
obviously, when I talked to him via text the next day after Michael got back from the game and confirmed the $100, it more than encompassed everything, including his gratuity. So
Cool.
I mean, I'm glad to hear that because I was like freaking out at first.
Well, because I've always told Gus, tell me if somebody cheats you out of anything or whatever. And Gus has been taken care of for years.
he always. I mean, every time we bring it up, he's like, "You guys are good. Don't worry. You guys are good." That's for sure.
Yep. So I went to
But
Papa
it was
Roach
a
the
good
next
game.
night, and he was there.
But
I
it
was in
was-
the one section over from our section.
Did he recognize you?
Oh yeah, we talked about the girl.
Drunkest? So that must have been after the game that you went to then, in the evening.
Yeah.
Because this was an AM game, or what, 1 o'clock or
Oh
something?
yeah. So yeah, Papa
Was
Roach
it?
was Sunday night.
Yeah.
Did you go to
No,
Sunday
that
game?
was actually, we went Friday night, so.
Okay.
So I think it was it a Saturday afternoon game?
Yeah, Saturday
because
afternoon.
originally I thought it was a Saturday night game.
It must
and
have been
it
because
was-
they had to set up the show for Sunday.
Well, because I originally thought it was a Saturday night game, but then I looked and it's like it was a 1 o'clock game. It was a Stars game.
Yeah. No, it was fun.
No, good night for sure. I mean, obviously, yeah.
Yeah, y'all were toasted.
A little bit.
And then Rick came back and he was like, it was like he was just going a mile a minute with his mouth.
Well, now you know what I experience when you come home drunk.
Got me.
Don't even try.
No, I just say I'm going up.
And then he tries to pet the dogs, and he's like stiff and trying to do it. And I think he's like, he doesn't want to tip over.
Yeah. Speaking of the dog, my nose is doing a lot better. Have you noticed?
Oh,
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, it might still have a scar eventually.
It will.
though, you know.
It's making.
I mean,
makes me
they
look
do have
dangerous.
some cream you can put on there.
Yeah, I bet you do.
So you want to stick on sports and knock that out first? And
Okay.
then we
Did you
can
go to
wait on
Forney?
others?
Huh?
Did you go to Forney?
I went to the Forney game on Friday. It was the annual Play for M Foundation, where it's like they do a raffle and everything else and sell tickets for the Play for M Foundation. And for anybody that is wondering what the M Foundation is a girl that played for my brother's softball team. This happened in 2000, I want to say 18. It was at a playoff dinner with the girls at the softball. When they were leaving, tragedy, they actually ran over one of the girls, and she ended up dying or whatever. And she
It's
had
a twin.
She had a twin sister, and the team won the next round and almost won the conference. The regional finals. But they were just on an emotional drain or whatever. And so ultimately they started this foundation, Play for M. And so the next season it was all Play for M. And Emily's favorite number was 6, and she loved butterflies. And it was just like that next season. It's like they went like 5-5. And then ultimately won their next 25 games and ended up winning the state title.
Nice.
And the number 6 was tied into everything. And the game-winning catch, which was a highlight on ESPN, was number 2 highlight of the top 10 plays of the day. The girl caught from the outfield, caught the ball over the fence and brought it back, and that ended the game.
Literally just like strapped over the fence.
And that was the girl that was driving the car that went or so. But it was just so unbelievable. And they gave him a check for $12,000 last night. And they said
Friday night.
They said that they've collected in their, I guess, 6-7 years, $200,000, and they give out scholarships.
College scholarships, right?
Yeah.
for softball.
Sweet.
Yeah, it's great. It's a great cause. I mean, there's no doubt about it. I didn't realize it was that night.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's why I told you.
you didn't tell me it was that night, that it was about M. Otherwise, I would have shifted around and told the other individual I couldn't make it
Well,
if I'd known that. So, but
Okay.
hey, there's no here there. I mean, bottom line.
whatever. I did mention it one time, but I just didn't mention it the second time.
Well, you didn't mention it in any of the text messages either.
Well, no-
So, yeah, no worries. No worries.
See
My
the
bad.
little bitter queen over there?
No. Maybe that's why your brother didn't actually respond back when I said congrats.
Probably so.
probably
I mean,
pissed
he's
off
probably
at me.
pissed off.
I mean, geez. Not that I
And-
intended to
Rather
be.
you pissed off than pissed on.
And they won the game.
Depends on who you're talking to.
They played their rivals, North Forney, and first batter for North Forney, because they were the visiting team, the girl bunts the ball, and it goes maybe 2 feet from home plate or whatever. And so the girls run into first base. The catcher gets it and throws it wildly, and it gets past the first baseman. Ultimately, it makes some weird bounces and all that stuff. The girl ran all the way round and scored on that one play. And so it was 1-0. That was the only run they scored the whole entire time.
Nice.
Forney ended up winning 11-1. They scored 5 runs in the bottom of the 6th because then they 10-runned them. Because otherwise it would have had to play the 7th inning or whatever. But they are 3rd in the state right now in 6A. They made an announcement, and I don't know where you see it, but they said nationally, Forney's ranked 17th nationally.
That's pretty good.
What were they?
17th.
Oh yeah, I remember your brother saying that. Yeah.
And
That's
I was like,
impressive.
I don't know where you see those rankings or whatever, but I said it. So that's impressive. And it's like every game because I looked at their theme, every game in their district they've won by at least 10 runs, except for one. The one game they lost 1-0, and that's when the team hit the home run in the bottom of the 7th or whatever. And actually, and they're tied. It's Royce City, and they're tied with them because for first place right now. And they play each other on Tuesday in Forney.
Nice.
So I might be going to that game. So it's not Rick. So it's not the play for M, but it's Forney versus Royce City, and the winner
What day is that?
Tuesday,
Okay.
and the winner will be first in the district.
Gotcha. I don't know what I'm doing Tuesday yet. It's 2 days away.
So all in all, I mean the Forney team's playing well.
Nice.
So it's just they're in the second half of district, and then it's going to be playoffs probably in about 3 weeks.
It's
Nice.
amazing how quickly that came. I mean, the season's almost over.
Well, we're about to be in April.
I get that. Well, I'm like, where the hell the year's already gone? I mean, it seems like it's been 2 years, obviously, since the election, but
Well, no, it just seems like that long. All right, name another sport. What do you want me to talk about?
well, let's go ahead and talk about what happened with the Stars yesterday.
What happened to Stars?
What happened to Stars?
They've moved forward for the playoffs.
Must not be that exciting.
Oh, are you saying that they clinched?
Yeah.
I mean, I clinched.
Well,
Okay, I didn't. It's like it was just a matter of time because they're doing well. They got the third best record in the
I get that,
NHL.
but bottom line is like we need to talk about it because this city needs a good morale boost.
Well, no, it's like I could talk about, it, but it's like
Amen.
when you said a big thing, it's like okay.
That is a big thing. I mean,
Well-
if you're going to sit here and be blasé about it, I mean, I'm pretty sure the Dallas Stars
no,
will be
but-
pissed off about it.
Well, no, because it's just like I knew that they were going to because you got the third best record. They were going to make the playoffs.
Fans, because I have tickets.
Yeah, but the fact that they've actually clinched it and they're moving forward. So, I mean,
know,
this is the
'cause-
opportunity for the, third year in a row of possibly getting the Stanley Cup.
No, I told you I clinched it already, so nobody's excited about that.
No, we're not.
But
Because
because yeah,
the visual is not good.
because as of right now,
You don't need a visual. You've already seen it.
They've got-
clinch.
because they've
You
got
zoomed
the,
in. You did one of these, didn't you? Where you
No.
put your pinky and your
Not at all.
and
not
your
at
finger
all.
and zoom
keep
in.
trying. Keep trying.
Because the Stars got the third best record in the entire NHL, but they're second in their division because Winnipeg's got either the first or second best record. And so, as it looks like right now, Stars should end up second in their division, and looks like they would probably be playing Colorado their first series.
Nice.
Yeah.
And Dallas would have the home ice advantage or whatever. So yeah, and the playoffs will start middle of April because their last I think it's the 15th is when their last game is or whatever, something like that.
Last regular season.
Regular season. But no, yeah, the Stars definitely are on a roll. Matter of fact, some people have, because with the trade they made by getting the guy from Carolina, they said is that they think Florida and Dallas are the odds-on favorite to make it to the Stanley Cup. Dallas is playing well. I mean, they're on the road all this week, but they've been playing well on the road and at home or whatever. So that is great. So yeah, the Stars are going to go hopefully a good long way to the Stanley Cup.
Sweet. Now, of
Nice.
course, we know about the Mavs and the trade and how the uproar and the morale issue there, but there was a little bit of concern there getting into the playoffs, but it looks like they've made it.
They haven't made it.
They're almost there.
No. Well, they're in a position right now.
Yeah. I mean, I know they got a game tomorrow
Well,
night. So.
well, when you say that they're in it, there's still like about 6 games left in the season.
Right. So they could fuck it up, but I mean,
Well, you've got the 9th, 10th, and 11th spot are only 1 game apart. And I think Dallas loses the tiebreaker on both Sacramento and Phoenix. So you just gotta if Dallas could just pull it off and win some games or whatever, they can make it into the play-in, where it's like they would either end up in the 10th or the 11th spot.
well, like last night, they won by 1 point.
Yep. And if you end up in the 9th or
Barely.
if you end up on the 9th or the 10th spot, those 2 teams will play each other. It'll be at whoever the ninth place team is.
Yeah.
The loser is out, and then the winner will play the loser of the 7-8. And then if you win that, then you're going to be the 8th seed, and then you play. So it's like they could they could play 1 and gone, or they could play 2 and get in there, and we'll see. But I mean, they got Anthony Davis back.
Yeah, they did. I mean, you know, the funny thing about that, because you mentioned that, but that continues on about saying, well, ever since the trade, you know, there's only been like a 61%, you know, winning over on, you know, with Luka and the Lakers, and well, there's been 100%. He played 2 fucking games. You can't even actually use that as an apples to apples comparison. I mean, it's like a watermelon to apple comparison, you know. And again, because he's played 4 games, they said the exact same thing. Every 4 games he plays, like, well, yeah, you can't use that comparison. You know.
But I mean, it's like, I mean, who knows? I mean, if we get Gafford back and Lively,
Hey.
anything could happen.
You know, I was I did a post this morning, or I should say I did a comment on a post, and it was a back and forth between Mark Cuban and a former employee who was just bashing him, basically saying it's all his fault about the trade. And you know, he walked away from the basketball operations. He's the one who hired Nico. He was shitty payer. I mean, it was just like lambast, and it was back and forth constantly. And you know, Mark was just like, "Fuck you, dude." I mean, you didn't mind the fucking bonus when I sold my percentage of the team,
Right.
did you? You know, I mean, the guy was definitely out of line. There's no doubt about it. Because as we know, when it comes to an NBA franchise, there's so many billionaire politics involved that, you know, it's not dictated by just who's going to buy it and who's going to sell it. There's so much more involved
No,
in
but
that
why did
process.
he have to sell it to the Adelsteins?
Because we're going to build a casino.
Because they're probably the ones who actually offered the money he wanted of
Well,
$3.5
I
billion.
get that. I totally get it, but that's just like
Well, they definitely are not somebody who had the experience in basketball operations. There's no doubt about it.
That's why he's
So,
managed. That's why he's still basketball operations.
he's not.
Oh, is he?
That was the whole complaint about this former employee. They said
Gotcha.
if you had still been basketball operations, that would never have happened in the trade.
Gotcha.
And it's just like, you know, I mean,
Yeah, but eventually, give the guy a break. He's got to move on, man. Do other things.
well, and not only
I thought
that,
I think
the
he wanted to get in politics. I think.
But
well,
yeah,
and the
but look-
reason he also put out there is because exactly what was happening. This former employee and fan was just pummeling him and dumping all this shit onto him and saying, "This is why I dealt with it. I've dealt with it for 20 years now. I don't want my kids to deal with this shit." And I don't blame them because I mean, this whole process of trading Luka and even today, Mike was talking about how at the Rangers game they were saying, fire Nico, fire Nico. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot more into it that we are never ever going to probably hear about.
No.
And I know there's been some sort of back and forth between the commissioner and Mark Cuban as well, where he said that Mark did. That it was really the NBA who said that he couldn't be in operations, and the commissioner came out and said, no, that was never the case. It was between, Dumont, his family, and Mark. They should have figured that out. It was nothing like the Celtics. So, I mean, it's just, there's just so much bullshit politics involved.
Right.
And the fact that, we are fans, it was a very disappointing trade and probably will truly come out to be probably the worst mistake ever.
And it's like, I'm shocked with like Maverick management who think that this was a no big thing or whatever, and you still hearing them say it was like, oh, this is for the best of the team. This is best for the history. And
Well, I
long
think
run and everything else is.
that's just a PR thing. I think they did not realize the impact that this trade would have made.
Because anywhere you go on a sporting event, they're saying fire Nico. They did it.
Yeah,
they
but
did it yesterday.
I don't think they anticipated that though.
No, well, it's like they didn't understand what they were doing.
Well, and that's the whole thing.
They did not understand.
They looked at it from a politics in regards to broadcast rights that eventually this city will have in comparison to LA, long term, and then also the money impact. That's all it was. They didn't look at what the morale impact would be on this city, which it will affect their bottom line.
Well,
the reason they're raising their tickets isn't because they want to generate more revenue to actually put in. It's because they're falling short on the revenue. They just talked about the chief revenue officer who has a hell of a job to try to make up for the differences.
Yep. And I mean, April 9th, Lakers come here. And everybody in their mind that goes there is going to wear their Luka jersey, and it's going to be cheering. I mean, shouting out, fire Nico and all that stuff. That is going to be big and everything there.
I hope that's not the case because I would like to see the focus on the game, the Mavs, and also Luka, to be honest with you.
No, they will cheer Luka, and they will give him a standing ovation when they call his name and everything else. It's like it's going to be Luka, 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 Luka. But it's like you're going to hear all this stuff. You're going to hear fire Nico.
Yeah, I think that we need to move on from that because if they haven't fired him by now, they're not going to.
Well, but it's like the fans need this. Will need this. There's going to be no stopping them on that night.
But what will be the result of it? They're not going to get anything they want.
No, they won't. But it'll just make them feel. I mean, it'll just make.
And how long is this venting going to go on? Bottom line is, let's try to support the team. Yes, I'm disappointed. I'm going to support Luka when he's
but it's like I will yell fire Nico come at that game because it's going to.
I wouldn't yell it. You know what I would do? If I ever had the chance, I would go up to his face and say, you should be fired yourself for the worst business decision you ever made. And even if you weren't the ultimate decision maker in there, you should have pushed harder back on it, and you should have told Mark Cuban so he could have pushed harder on as well. That's what I'd say.
But he keeps saying this is for the best, for the long run of the team.
Well, no, he talked about short term first. Well, that ain't going to happen.
Well, because we got all the injuries, and it's just like that fell apart.
Yeah, but where was the planning of thinking ahead of if, in fact, something like the injuries did happen? I mean, he obviously didn't even have the foresight to do that. That's my point. It's just like you made a bad business decision without playing out every type of scenario possible to say, okay, is it wise to trade the third best NBA player out there at this point, who actually is turning into one of the best, period, in history? Where he's at the Lakers. I mean, and I have to say, I mean, despite his initial being pissed off and kind of like hurt, I think he's pretty happy right now.
Oh, I bet.
Have you ever been to Bubba Gump Shrimp for dinner?
I don't know if I've been for dinner.
Have you ever been to...
where the hell did this come from?
Well, they have these little circles on their table. Mm-hmm. One's red and one's green.
Right. Okay.
When you turn it to green, you get more meat.
Well, that's like Fogo de Chao does that. And
so maybe we can get
Brazil.
one so that way when we turn it to green, we can get another drink.
Well, no, we can just tell us another drink. He'll make it right there. I mean, I've got.
Hand in air.
I'm just fucking with you.
I've got my own bottle down here. Folks, this is what we're doing. I mean, typically, because we're going live now.
I'm still the bitch making the drink.
Well, at the moment, but
can you use two hands when you're fondling my ice, please?
That's the only thing he's going to use two hands for. But, I mean, obviously we don't want Michael to leave because really when Michael does leave, Alex has nothing to say.
Dead air.
I mean, it really is. I mean, he's just like,
Well, then Rick would like it because then he gets to talk the whole entire time.
no, I'm not going to talk to myself. It's not worth
Oh,
it.
I didn't. Oh, there's Cokes. I was like, there's no Coke.
The bartender bitch thought of everything.
You didn't bring another Coke, did you? Well, this
That
good
was
for
your
this
fault.
one.
Let's go for that one.
I brought the Sprite. Actually, I forgot that you did Coke, to be honest with you. I thought you were doing Sprite as well. So
Hey.
that is definitely my mistake there. So.
It's all good. It's water in the bridge.
All right,
All right, what other sport?
March Madness.
So
I know you were disappointed
usually I go
last
to
night.
Vegas, but I guess I'm not. Because it's this week, right? Well, the final. It's the 8. We're in the 8 pack.
Ooh.
No, we
no,
just
further.
just completed the final 4
Yeah.
Oh,
It's lined up now.
okay. Which would be this weekend.
this coming weekend.
Yeah.
Saturday and Monday.
I've done a Vegas run of that shit. It's boring.
Yeah. Well, it can be boring. You know, we were at a show last night at the Symphony. A good friend of ours, John, took us with, and 3 of the ladies as well. And Mike had his damn phone up watching the score for his team, which is, Texas Tech. That's where he's alumni from. And it was getting down to the wire where he literally was sitting inside the Symphony Arena about for everybody, the lights to go down, and finally when they lost, unfortunately.
Well, but I had to go out because it's like while I was sitting in my seats, the reception went out.
Oh, yeah, it's for whatever reason, it does go out in there. It's kind of weird. Even the parking garage is kind of crazy. It's almost
You
like,
gonna get ice for yours?
Yeah. Just leave that off.
So yeah, NCAA tournament. I mean, everybody was talking about the SEC getting 14 bids to the tournament or whatever, which I thought was stupid, but they got it or whatever. But my team, Texas Tech, was a number 3 seed, and they won their first 2 games, and so then they were playing the Elite 8. Oh wait, no, the Sweet 16 game, and they were playing Arkansas. And it was just like Arkansas, the second half, just started pulling away, was up by 16 points. And so then I was downstairs watching TV, and it was just like, okay, this game doesn't look like it's gonna do well. So I just turned the TV off downstairs, went to my bedroom, turned on the TV, started watching it, and then all of a sudden, Tech started making a comeback. And then they ultimately hit a 3-pointer to tie the game with like 7 seconds left. And then Arkansas missed it. So Texas Tech ended on a 16-3 run to end the regular season, the second half. Put it into overtime, and then they won it in overtime. And I mean, I was yelling and screaming and all that stuff is. And so then we made it to the Elite 8. We were playing Florida, which a lot of people are picking Florida to win. And then it's like, like Rick said, we were going to see the Dallas Symphony Orchestra with a group. So it's like the game was going on while we were having the dinner there, and it ended right before it started. But I had my phone on, and it's on the ESPN games cast. And so I'm looking at it, we're up by 10 points. I'm going, okay, God. And then just like you look at it, then it's like, it looked like Florida just kept hitting 3-pointers. And it's just like, okay, Tech, you got to make a basket. But no, it's another 3-pointer. And then ultimately.
I was like, don't go into the actual area, but we're going to be watching, and all of a sudden start screaming in there. They'll kick your ass out.
And then it's just one of those things is where you just need to hit a basket and to stop the momentum, and it's like they didn't.
Well, it was like they had 9 minutes left as we were finishing up dinner, and you felt somewhat confident, but then all of a sudden it's just like Florida made the comeback like strong with the 3-pointers and all, and by the time you're walking in, you're like, this is not looking good.
Yeah. So I mean, they made a big run. They made it to the Elite 8. Good for Texas Tech. A great season. All that stuff is. So that was one team from the Big 12. The other team from the Big 12 is Houston, which was seeded number 1. They were playing Tennessee, and basically the first half, and they played today. In the first half, they blew Tennessee out. They at halftime they were up by 19 points, and then all of a sudden it's like Tennessee slowly started to cut the lead down, and then it pushed back up, cut it down or whatever, and then. Because the first half Tennessee did not hit any 3-pointers. In the second half, they were hitting these long 3-pointers. They got it down to 9 points, and then Houston hit 3 3-pointers in a row, and then went up by about 16, and then it's just never close after that. So you got one Big 12 team in there, and they're going to be playing Duke, which is an ACC team. So those two teams will be playing, and they're both number 1 seeds. And actually, this year is only the second time ever the number 1 seed, all 4 number 1 seeds made it to the finals, because then Auburn and who is it? Auburn and Florida are playing on the other one. So you're definitely gonna have an SEC in the finals, and then it'll be between Duke and Houston.
Nice. Well, I just checked. Flights are fucked, so they're $280 round trip on Frontier. I'm not flying that.
To go to Vegas?
Yeah, you can't. I can't use my past as blackout dates.
No. And then the Big 12. I mean, not the Big 12. The NCAA finals is in San Antonio this year. So Houston will probably have home court advantage, because they will because it's like you're in the state of Texas, and everybody will be rooting for Houston.
Nice.
And then you got the women going on, and they've decided 2 of the Final Fours. The other 2 will be decided tomorrow. And for the schools here is, I think, in one of the Final Fours tomorrow, or the Elite 8, it's Texas and TCU. So you're going to have at least one Texas team in the Final Four for the women. So what else? Any other sporting thing you want me to bring? I'm the sports junkie here.
That's what I'm saying. Anything else?
Trying to think. We hit
Forney, hit
Forney,
hockey, hit
hockey,
basketball,
basketball,
hit NCAA.
Rangers.
They lost the home opener.
You know what was cool though? So home opening day, I went to my local restaurant, like down the street from my house. So it's a single unit. The owner, he's in the kitchen.
One of your favorite places.
Yeah, it's called Awesome Times. They had a ballpark menu. It was pretty fucking legit, bro. They took hot dogs and boiled them, and then when they brought them out, they wrapped them in like the little foil and shit, like
cool.
It's all like crinkled and stuff. So they're like, here you go. That was like $2. And then the nachos, same thing. They made nachos, basic ass nachos. Had the pickled whatevers on them. Here's a picture of them. Fucking.
Of course, you took a
like,
picture of them. Oh yeah.
Yeah, like just like you would get 'em.
Definitely looks like one of those like processed crap.
Yep, the cheap cheese. It's happening. Hold on.
She moved.
And,
I told you she would.
and
I
like $2
told you.
Michelob Ultras, man. It was cool. I spent $8 on lunch. I had a hot dog, the nachos, and a beer. It was cool.
And everybody that's just watching live or whatever, it's like Sasha was sitting over here, and Rick made the comment. He said, well, I'm glad she's over there, because then you'll smell it when she farts, and we don't have to. And I says, don't worry, she will move.
Well, I haven't smelled it, so.
And then she moved, and so she must have just farted.
Yeah, she gave the full potential to Alex. So, well, cool. So
the Rangers lost their home opener, and it was a tradition for me and a bunch of others, because we used to go to a Texas Rangers home opener.
you did last year.
Not last year. I haven't been to a home opener in
Maybe 2 years.
No, I haven't been to a home opener in a long time. I went to a game.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But not the home opener, because there was a group of us, like around anywhere from 8 to 15 people, that would go to the Texas Rangers home opener, and because it's always an afternoon game, you tailgate and everything else is, and we used to do that every year. We did it for like at least 15 years, and then when the Texas Rangers made it to the World Series and ultimately won it, then it was just like it was impossible getting opening day tickets. And so then ultimately then the group kind of disbanded, and we haven't done it. We haven't done it since. But they lost their first one against Boston, but then they won the next 3 against Boston, so they're 3-1.
It's a good start.
Yeah.
Hey, a team in Dallas is winning.
we won it 2 years ago, but last year we had a lot of injuries, so hopefully this
It's
year.
already been 2 years. So we won the World Series?
Yeah.
Wow. The baseball season just went past me then. I mean, I'm not a big baseball fan, so it's boring.
It's
to watch
boring. Although the time clock does
I
help.
was gonna say is as once they've added the time clock,
Yeah, it
the
makes it a lot
games go
easier.
by a lot quicker.
As long as the alcohol's flowing, you're actually in the stadium. That's different.
No, but like you can plan your fucking trip now. Like you can be done in 3.5 hours. You're not just like in limbo.
Well, I mean, because usually the games are probably a little bit less than 3 hours.
Yeah, but it used to be like whenever, infinity and shit.
Well, it used to be just a 9-inning game could go 3.5, 4 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And that sucked but I like the time clock because it's like they have to pitch pretty quickly.
Right. It's 10 seconds?
No, it's 20 seconds. Or I don't know, 20, 30 I don't remember.
By the time they get up there, it feels like 10 seconds.
Yeah.
But yeah.
How many minutes are we on?
Well, George Bush was there.
Of course he's going to be there.
He used to own
I have the
them.
answer
Yeah.
for you. Hold on. We have been on live for 35 minutes.
Oh my God, this has got to be a record. This has got to be a complete record. 35 minutes and not talking about politics yet.
Oh, we're going to.
Well, no, but I'm just saying
I
this
just-
is the
I just-
longest
I'm
we've
actually
ever.
glad I didn't buy a Tesla now.
This is.
Oh, really?
People are getting like their cars are getting keyed and shit.
Well, and the people who did, they're putting like fake names on the back of them so they don't know it's Tesla
Didn't I see something? Somebody
rough.
put like a Honda on the
or
back.
Toyota. Oh, well, those Cybertrucks, though, you can't fucking hide. Those things are just hideous. But so you ready for politics?
Oh, go ahead. We spent 35 minutes, so that's a record at any time for not talking politics.
And I didn't push back at all. Look at that. But I was generally interested until we got to the Rangers.
Well, the stock market still sucks.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of reasons. Obviously, the retribution day of April 2nd is fast
all red.
approaching.
That's
which is-
Wednesday.
That's Wednesday.
What is that?
Because originally he said he was going to do it April 1st.
Yeah, but he did want everybody to say April Fools.
Oh,
Yeah, that's how mentally this guy is inept. That's
Gotcha.
for sure. So April 2nd is when all the tariffs are supposedly going to hit across the world from us.
yeah. So I got in an argument with my dad today, of course, about politics because he's a Democrat, like by textbook. He's like, "You fucking think that they're gonna actually make auto cars here in the U.S.?" I said, "No, probably not."
Oh, we were going to jump on that one because I actually have an argument going on with somebody on TikTok.
I think they should. I mean, they could make foreign cars here. That's his complaint, right? If you're gonna make,
first of all, they do.
Volkswagen, make the Volkswagen here in the United States.
First of all, they do. You know, but that's not the problem. You know, I mean, he gets this impression thinking that all these American cars, they're not only just built here, which they are, but they're not owned by Americans. They're owned by foreign companies in foreign countries, like Chrysler and Jeep and all. They're not owned by an American company. They're over in like Norway or Belgium or wherever they crap are. So all this bullshit where he thinks that they're just gonna kowtow and just start rebuild these factories or reinitiate these factories, which require billions of dollars.
Right.
Billions of dollars to bring them back up online. They're not going to invest that. What they're going to do is like, if the economy tanks, they're going to go back to the government and say, bail us out again, just like we did in 2008. I mean, and who's going to bail out? Us, the taxpayers. So bottom line is, he sit here. Well, I mean, what he said is like, I could care less if the prices of cars in the United States go up for the American consumer,
Yeah, he did say that. Right.
because everybody's going to start coming back to buying American cars. Well, you can buy American cars all you want, but first of all, the entire production of cars is such an international process now. Parts come from all over the world.
Cars are up though. I saw my local Kia dealership, which was empty as fuck at times. Their lot's full. There's a lot of cars in the lots right now.
Probably a lot of cars are going to still sit there for a while.
That's true,
That's
too.
the problem.
Well, and one thing that I heard, and I didn't pay too much attention to, but it's like, I guess cars that are even made here, there's parts that go like back and forth to Canada like 7 times.
Yep.
So that's 7 times that you're going to get the tariffs.
Yep.
Why would it go back and forth 7 times?
Because certain parts they adapted there, it comes here, they adapt it again, then it goes back and forth. I mean, there's a whole process.
I didn't realize that.
It's the whole car making process is an international, almost like a conglomerate actual. So you can't just break this shit up and say, oh, we're all going to build them right here. No.
Gotcha.
You're going to put tariffs on everybody. And it's not just, fully built cars. It's like anything associated with the cars. Mm-hmm. I mean, the guy's an idiot. 25% tariffs across the board. That's even going to affect Tesla.
Right.
Because a lot of their parts come from China. Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, it's just like they haven't really thought this whole thing through. And he's just saying it for his base because it sounds exciting. It sounds like bold and bull. You know, I mean, so we as the consumers, we as the taxpayers in the United States, eventually are not only going to be bailing out companies like we have in the past, but we're also going to be paying higher prices between an estimate of $5,000 to $15,000 per car.
But all these CEOs are not going to change their structure right now just for
They're
these
not
tariffs.
going to put out billions of dollars to reinstitute these factories that are sitting dormant.
No.
Because they have to be brought up. Because one, they don't want staff to run it.
Yeah.
They want it all technology and computers to run it so they can save it. But that requires billions of dollars.
And they're not going to do that.
And the time that it would take, let's say they did decide to do it. You know how many years it would take to bring them up to those standards? A decade at least, minimum. There's no way that we have time. I mean, hopefully that guy's dead by then.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, the whole thought process that they're doing, I don't even know who is thinking of these ideas, because I can guarantee you, from what it's understanding, is he's like a zombie in the White House, that somebody's like puppet up his ass. You know.
Yeah.
So I mean, the whole tariff thing on the cars is stupid. The whole tariffs across the entire world, including Japan, who's actually one of our allies, who they basically have come out and said, well, then we're going to have to retaliate.
Yep.
You know.
Right.
I mean, look who just cut off relations with us.
Oh, Canada.
Canada.
Wait, is that why maple syrup was maple syrup is $22 in the
Probably.
grocery store? I mean,
Probably.
fucking check
Yeah.
that out.
Yeah.
$22.
Because whoever-
for the
I
real
bought
shit.
some extra Crown
For the
because
real
it's like
shit.
That comes in from Canada.
yeah, Crown Royal comes from Canada.
And once the tariffs hit, they
I
want
bought
the shelves
some
to be
extra
empty.
bottles, and it's like I probably need to go back and keep it stock high.
Yeah, the new prime minister, who's also just did a snap election here in April, has basically said, you know, they are no longer our ally. They are no longer our number one trading partner. What we have to do is we need to actually spread our wings and go out to the rest of the world. I mean, that was the number one relationship when it came to an ally that we had in the world. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. I mean, we have I don't know how many miles of border we have, tens of thousands of miles or whatever, thousands of miles. A lot of them that aren't even necessarily manned or weren't manned, to the point where now they're putting troops on their damn border now. They're also, you know, stopping Americans coming through and saying, well, you're limited in this many times. You know, I mean, to lose the friendship of Canada, I mean, it's one thing if you actually have somebody like China who really has been like raping us when it comes to certain things. Yeah, strategically try to tariff them out. But Canada? I mean, the oil that we get from them alone, you know, I mean, it just makes no sense. So, I mean, they're looking to reroute and stuff.
I mean, the one thing Trump has done, he's uniting all these nations against us, or better, stronger for themselves.
Well,
it's like in
yeah.
Canada, it's like there was a big talk that they thought that the Conservatives would win in Canada
No, yeah,
on their
there's-
elections.
And they were leading when Trudeau was in office until the whole tariff thing came up. So, I mean, in fact, Trump may have best fucked himself.
Well, because it's like now it's just like every Canadian can't stand Trump.
But I will also tell you, the conservative candidate has also come out and said these tariffs are bullshit.
Well, because he knows
Exactly. He needs to toe the line because it's going to screw. You know, 70% of flights coming into the United States from Canada is reduced. Most of the people who are actually, you know, snowbirds, you know, who came from the north down to the south and into the United States, Florida and these different destinations as in the wintertime, are reconsidering to go Mexico or, you know, further south or something along those lines. So we're going to take a significant hit on the tourist business as well.
Yeah.
Well, it's like just for spring. I showed Rick a thing on spring break. Miami is
Yeah, but that's more domestic issues here.
well, but it still has to do across other countries because Canada, people
Yeah,
from
other countries do
But it's
impact
like
it.
Miami, spring break has always been a big place, Miami Beach or whatever, and it's kind of like a ghost town there right now because they just
Well, if you remember a couple of years ago, DeSantis and Florida started, you know, getting hard on these spring breakers around the country, you know, and putting the curfews on and shit like this. And then, of course, became so red down there in regards to, you know, anything anti-LGBTQ, anything anti-trans. I mean, you name it, and everything was anti against. Don't say the word gay. You know, let me sue Disney, which is the number one tourist draw in the entire state, number one employer in the entire state. So basically, you've got these more progressive students in these colleges saying, fuck you, I'm going somewhere else. I'll go to Mexico,
Yeah.
you know? I mean, I'll go to Arizona. I'll go somewhere else that I don't need to go to Florida because obviously, we're being micromanaged.
Floridians hate living in Florida.
Yeah, they do.
They really do.
I mean, but it was never like that.
No. But if you live in Florida, you're from
You don't
Florida,
want to admit that you live there.
Right, it's
but
legit.
a lot of times people went there to retire.
Yeah, my grandparents did.
But it's now with everything that's going on, and it's gotten more and more expensive
Yeah.
there. People the retirees can't afford to live there.
This is the thing that came out last week, and I'm typically not like surprised by anything a DeSantis or a Trump or all those crazy MAGA people actually say or attempt to do or say they're going to do. But the fact that the entire legislation and DeSantis is reconsidering stripping all the child labor laws in the state of Florida that would allow individuals at 14 years old to work overnight because they don't have enough labor because they scared all the immigrants away.
Just when you think you're having a bad day.
I mean, just crazy shit, isn't it? Mm-hmm. I mean, let's go ahead and do child labor, make them work 12 hours overnight, because, we couldn't get any immigrants to do it because he scared them all off.
Right.
Absolutely ridiculous.
But that's what's happening.
Montana, they were almost like in bankruptcy because all the ranch hands or our immigrants, they all said bye. I mean, and again, these are red states that are getting hit most.
Yeah. I mean, the red states are going to get hit the worst.
On these tariffs as well, because Canada specifically is targeting red states. Specifically.
Kentucky's one.
I'm sorry, we're
Kentucky
red state.
is a red state. It's
We're a
ran
blue
by
city.
a Democrat. But it's
it's not run by. It's the governor.
The governor's
but it's
Democrat.
But it's like he doesn't run it. He just basically vetoes stuff if they go too far.
Gotcha.
So.
Because it's all Republican underneath that.
Yeah, so I mean, it's just absolutely crazy, this whole tariff stuff and how it's affecting the different states and what have you. And I think that's even going to affect, state to state eventually, to be honest, at some point. Reds to blues and things of that sort. So let's talk about the nomination that was withdrawn.
Are you talking about for the ambassador for the UN?
The UN ambassador nomination.
Why would that happen?
Well, the thing about I read an article today. Obviously, the reason the premise behind it is the House special elections in Florida, as well as the one that potentially was going to happen up in New York, where Elise Stefanik was going to be vacated and become the actual UN ambassador. We're so damn close that the entire House could have shifted from the Republicans to the Democrats. They said it's just too damn close. They're scared shitless. Matt Gaetz' seat's obviously going to go Republican, but the other one in Florida, they are saying it's too close to call at this stage. So they were, and we knew that the Democrat governor in New York was going to move full force, and there was a strong possibility that was going to Democrat take over her seat there. So they really kind of backed off on that. The problem, though, is you took somebody who was in the House who gave up her soul, pretty much, to be a MAGA lieutenant,
She
to
did.
be so far up Trump's ass.
She took over after Lynn Cheney.
Exactly, as in the leadership in the House. She was the number 4. So she gave up that. She gave up her chairmanships. She was on her farewell tour from all her constituencies and things of that sort. And then all of a sudden, and she actually apparently begged the hour before they pulled the nomination. And then all of a sudden they just did it anyways. Because she was basically backtracking to nothing. So you now have the Speaker of the House speaking, I got to regenerate her somehow, some way, because this is somebody who pretty much gave up her fucking life for this man. And so we'll find her something. So they'll make up a committee or some sort of bullshit for it, But then all of a sudden they turn around and say, well, maybe we just don't need a UN ambassador at all. I was like, what is wrong with this man? What is wrong with those people who are surrounding him? They're absolute idiots.
They are. Well, they're all idiots.
I'm just saying, though. I mean, we are supposedly the leader of the world, and the body that actually encompasses every single country in the world. I mean, whether you have a full delegation or not, you're still recognized in there. Every single one. I think it's 192 countries or whatever. We're not going to actually have an ambassador, somebody who is the leader. I mean, come on. Who's going to sit on the UN Security Council as the permanent 5? Who's going to be there?
Trump doesn't care about the UN.
No, he wants to withdraw, but it's like, okay, you're the only idiot who wants to withdraw. I mean, I don't even think Russia wants to withdraw from him. Come on. He may knock him constantly with the resolutions and what have you, but he doesn't want to withdraw from there because you lose all influence whatsoever. You become isolated, which we have done when it comes to the Paris Climate Control Treaty as well. We are with 5 other countries that are like communists or dictators. We're side by them now. I mean, just absolutely crazy.
You did mention the Speaker of the House just a minute ago.
I know where you're going here.
Have you heard what's going on there?
I heard there's a little bit of controversy that he's trying to like tap down, no pun intended.
It's like we should have had wherever you get that sound that comes up when you get a connection.
On what?
Grinder.
Oh yeah, there you go. Can you find that? Find a grinder. Like there's a certain sound apparently that I do that. But I mean, yes. I mean, and again, I'm kind of on the fence whether it's legit or not. But apparently TikTok is definitely blowing up as well as some of the Instagram Reels. Whereas
Is that the sound?
he's apparently been communicating with certain
That's
people.
it.
That's it?
That's the
What is
sound.
it?
Play it again.
Oh, there you go. So we want to say how many times has Speaker Johnson actually had this come up on his phone, this little sound here, or is he the one sending the sound? I was watching a TikTok, and this was if you initially saw this TikToker on there, you would think, oh, he's a MAGA guy, and he's not. I mean, he looks just like a typical MAGA guy, but he is like so progressive, so liberal, and he's constantly putting things out there, and he's constantly digging at Trump, he's constantly digging at Speaker Johnson, things of that sort. The FBI actually contacted him and told him to remove one of his TikToks, which was describing the entire thread supposedly on Grindr with Johnson and whoever he was like trying to hook up with. And we won't go into the details of that particular conversation because it's pretty explicit, let me tell you. They were telling him to take it down. Now, again, I say I'm on the fence whether or not this was like, somebody who was playing some nefarious bullshit out there and trying to like, make shit up. But I mean, why would the FBI contact him? Because that happens all the time. I mean, how many times has Lindsey Graham been called out by all the escorts, and the photographs, and even in newspapers, but they don't call him and say, take it down.
Right.
So there's something definitely there.
Yeah.
And let's talk about this guy. I mean, first of all, Speaker Johnson, he obviously fell into the speakership because there was nobody else. He was not even in leadership, at that point. But he also is a graduate of a law degree of a school that never was formed. And
he's from Louisiana.
And the university that was being formed was named after an individual who has actually been charged with child pedophilia.
Yeah.
I mean, that just tells you something. First of all, is he a real lawyer then? Because I mean, if the school never really formed. He probably never went to classes.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I mean, so it's basically a piece of paper that means shit, And he tries to come off as and he's actually represents Shreveport, Bossier City, and things of that sort. Says he's a constitutional lawyer.
That place is a dumpster dive anyway.
Yeah, it is a dumpster dive.
Although they have a new casino out there.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, it's owned by Live. Live. Live, Live, right?
Live.
Yeah, so the Rangers ballpark, the place next to it?
Yeah.
Live?
Globe Life?
Yeah. No.
The bars that are around
Yeah,
there.
it's Live.
Okay.
They built a casino in Shreveport. Supposed to be the ship. I just
Well,
want a
there ain't nothing
casino
else
here.
there.
I want a casino here so bad.
Yeah, well, eventually it'll be here. I mean, I don't
I'll
think
be
it'll.
60.
No,
I don't think so.
because the way it sounded like.
Well, they're building the complex.
It has not been approved yet. They
If
actually
it-
have Irving city members. Urban residents who are protesting it.
Let's go.
Because where Texas Stadium used to be, that's where they're talking about being it. And it's like,
They're trying to oversell it as like a non-casino luxury, blah, blah, blah.
Entertainment zone.
As soon as they get it approved, they're going to roll out the slot machines, baby. I guarantee you.
The city council already wants it. City of Irving City Council.
Yeah, because they're tired of people going to Oklahoma. It's
well,
right
no,
fucking there. All that money
and
they're
this is
losing
the
out
part
on.
where it's just like, okay, people from Texas, it's like casinos will get here.
They'll get
It's
here.
like it takes forever because it's like horse racing. Horse racing, you used to have to go to Shreveport
Right.
at Louisiana Downs, and it's like we went there. It's right across the border from Texas is Shreveport. It's like you go through the parking lot. Everybody has Texas license plates. And then eventually they got the horse
Well,
race here.
when you're going down 20 and you're getting towards Louisiana, you see the Texas line. They're all going to casinos. There's nothing else to go to fucking Louisiana for.
And then the next thing was the lottery. It took us a long time before we got it, but then it's like, okay, all the other states were getting around us, and we were losing all kind of revenue, so we're going to get it. So now you got the casinos where you have it in Shreveport, right across the Texas border there, and then in Sherman on the other side on Oklahoma. You've got it there.
Well, I mean, this kind of brings something interesting. Kind of goes back onto the actual Mavs situation, how the Adelsons and the Dumont families they're long-term thinkers. So if they're long-term thinking of wins is with Luka trade, well, they actually have a contract with the AEC until 2031 for the approval process to get done, and then the actual building of the casinos as well as the hotels and all the other. It's going to be in 2031. Mm-hmm. So they already have the plan laid out completely. Yeah,
I'm right here for it.
Just think about it. I mean, it's if it goes through this legislation or a special session in 2026, because they only actually said twice.
They only do two every other
year. Every 2 years, yeah. If let's say if it doesn't get approved now, maybe in 2027, it's just 3.5 years. Boom, we got a casino, and that is 3031. Mm-hmm. You know, so it's that's that simple.
And if it doesn't pass, then
it'll pass.
They will. Well, wait a second. You got it here until 31 because NBA's talking about expansion, mm-hmm. and the two cities that they're talking about expansion to Vegas and Seattle. So that will be decided before 31.
Yeah.
So if they get teams there, because there's a rumor here they're trying to crater the Mavericks. So if casinos don't come in Texas,
I don't think
they're going to move them. They're going to move it to.
I don't think the case because
Vegas.
The migration of people that we have coming here to the DFW market, this is going to make a huge broadcast rights market, just like LA is.
Can you grab that by your chair?
So I don't think that's the case. I think that there's going to be a team here. Whether or not the Adelsons, the Dumonts own it or not, that's a different story.
Dallas is a top 10 city in the U.S. and not having a basketball team here would be devastating.
If the way I look at it, if casinos are not approved here, Adelson and Dumont will sell the team. They'll walk away from it.
Yeah.
They'll go back to Vegas. They'll go back to Vegas now that he's going to be. Well, first of all, Dumont's going to be he's the next designate in 2026 to be the president of the Sands organization. He's going to go back to Vegas.
And they're putting the Sands here. That's what. Yeah.
Yeah.
I cannot wait. I was hoping a Hard Rock, but they're building a Hard Rock at the border, so that's fine.
Casinos is good generating revenue. The only thing that I would hope for that any revenue tax-wise that comes in, that the governor, Hot Wheels governor. Mm-hmm.
I'll be right back. I'm going to get another Coke.
The Hot Wheels governor and dipshit Patrick don't steal like they have the lottery money. The lottery money was...
Hey, Michael, do you have any chips? I have Mrs. Renfro's craft beer salsa. I can share.
This is what happens when you go live. You just do all types of shit.
You have chips?
He has tons of chips.
Oh, yeah. Let's get the good chips, bro. Don't get cheap on me on the chips.
All right, so let's kind of move off of this one because, I mean, you mentioned something like you're glad you didn't buy a Tesla.
Dude, I'm telling you, I fucked up.
What did you fuck up for?
Bro, this is turning to be one of the worst years. It's bad.
Well,
it's real. I finally stabilized the business, but holy shit,
let
bro.
Let me give you a little bit of kind of like
stressed.
a little bit of a relief. And I say relief in regards to just the guilt. You weren't the only one who voted for him.
I know, but...
And your vote was not the one that swung.
No, it's not that, but my issue is emotionally, I was so excited. I was here.
Well, that's what they do. They bump everybody up financially.
I'm so low right
I mean, their euphorium and the morale goes up because they're like, oh, we're going to cut taxes, we're going to cut regulation, and your economy's... Well, no.
Right.
I mean, the sad thing about it is I wish voters were more educated on history of politics and understand that, the tips and really just dig down deep into it. And obviously being in political science major and things of that sort, I do. I dig into it, and I obviously have a truck full of, probably.
I just feel for my parents, man. The stock. I mean, my dad's all into this, 401k and mutual funds.
Well, yeah.
And blah, blah, blah.
My father's the same. My father's the same. He's got it obviously. He's got his. Yeah.
A whole CRA.
Yeah, but the thing about it is, let's go back to one. That statement that he made. I think it was like in 2016 that if they're a president in office and the stock market goes down 1,000 marks, you need to quit. You need to resign. Why is that fucker not resigning?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's double standards. It's always double standards for Republicans. All I hope is that moving forward as a small business owner, which is the backbone of this country, that you guys educate yourself better on.
Right.
Because they are not about small businesses. They're about billionaires. They're about big corporations. They're about cutting their taxes. Your tax is not going to go down. Mm-hmm. Corporations' tax are going to go down. When they pass that extension, yours will not.
Right.
That's the problem. But let's talk about the 1,500 protests at all the Tesla dealers around the world that are happening this weekend. 1,500.
That's crazy.
And that's just not here in the United States, folks. I mean, that's obviously in the UK, that's in Australia, that's in France, that's in Germany. You know, right now, the actual sales of Tesla in the UK, in the European area, is down 60%.
But it just brings you back to what I said last week. Is like, what was the whole fucking point of all this for Elon Musk? Like, is he happier that he did all this shit?
Well, I mean, he wants to look like the martyr now, first of
Right.
all, you know, because he's coming out, he's like, I've given up so much, you know, this and that, you know, it's like, no, he has a nefarious, you know, thought process here. You know, he wants power. You know, I mean, he knows that the only way that he can have power is by having a puppet, because he can't become president.
Right.
Legally, his standing as a, you know, citizen who became a citizen, probably legally, if you really want to go back and talk about a student visa, does not allow him to actually become president or vice president.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it does. He could become a senator if he wants.
Whoa. That slaps.
What slaps?
Is it hot?
A little bit.
A little bit.
I got a kick. It's Mrs. Renfro's craft beer salsa.
Is it local?
Made with Roaring Sons
It's Texas on
Red.
there, yeah. So yeah, I mean, there's a nefarious reason as to why he wanted to be involved in this, and you know, he's actually indicated that he's walking away at the end of May.
He's got all the information he needs now.
Exactly, he's walking away and leaving the administration and Trump at the end of May, which means that's the timeline that he set for himself to have all the data that he's actually stripping off. What he's going to do with the data is what we all need to be concerned about.
You gotta try this shit, bro.
Need another one?
I'll take a topper.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, the stock obviously in Tesla is like tanking. You know, the major shareholder wants to get him kicked out as chairman. You know, so there's a lot of issues out there for sure.
Yeah, so at what point is you like, shit, I fucked up. Let me go back to just living my normal life.
Why?
Well, there was nothing normal about him. You know, everything he does is for show.
Yeah, but I'm not disagreeing. I'm just saying it's like the circus has run out, bro.
The circus.
Well, no. He's getting all the information he needs.
You know, the funny thing about it is he says the circus has run out. It's like, it only took him like, 4 months after the election to finally figure that out. We knew the circus was over at the end of his term in 2021. That's when we knew the circus was over and hoped that it would not return. But unfortunately, it has returned and then some, you know.
Yo, you gotta try this salsa. It kicks.
I mean, everything that's being laid out there specifically by this administration is taking away rights. It's setting us back. You know, they're investigating Disney now because of their DEI policies. Mm-hmm. So basically, they're saying you can't have any diversity because we said you can't.
Right.
The embassy, United States embassy in France, sent letters to every one of their actual contractors of French origins and said, you need to follow our DEI policies, which means there is none. And of course, France came out and said, well, that ain't going to happen. So they're going to lose all their suppliers in France as well, which I'm sure is going to happen across the world.
Woo, this is good. You gonna try this shit or what?
I'm not.
We got a kick, bro.
So let's talk about the Signal Gate.
I don't know what that is. Hold on, let me chat GBT it. Let me get a. Hold on.
You
Hold
don't
on.
know?
Give me a.
This is your
Quick.
problem.
That does have a kick.
You need this is like something that's been on the news for the last week and a half.
Signal Gate. Hold on, let me just get my shit caught up here real quick. Company that
That
provides.
does have a kick.
Signal Gate. I guess I don't understand what it is.
All right, so basically, you know, the communication that occurs between the actual high-level individuals in administration and government should be on a government-secured application or
I do
system.
know this. I think. Yeah.
And dumbass Hestef decided to. Well, actually, I think it was the what was it? The National Security Advisor,
Yeah, what was his name?
Waltz,
Waltz.
decided to create a signal. Which, first of all, you're not allowed to use that in the government. It has
Well,
actually
wait a
designated
second.
on.
I wouldn't say you can't use it because it's like they basically kind of had, but then it's like
It cannot be on any government
but
devices.
some organization, some parts of the government have said is we do not want you to do this.
It cannot be, just like TikTok cannot be on government instruments of communication. That cannot either.
I haven't heard that.
Yeah, I'll tell you
I
this.
have
Drew.
not heard that.
I have. Anyhow, I mean, this is an app that they communicate and they can actually make messages disappear, just like Snapchat, I guess is what
Yeah.
it is. You know,
But they never disappear. They're always
Never.
on a
It's always
server.
out there. Somebody always has access to it, which means it can be hacked. So here we are preparing for our attacks against the Houthi in Yemen,
Right.
which is a major military.
Sorry, you're good.
Yeah, really? Why'd you just want to cut me
Well,
off?
no, I had a Slack from one of our listeners said that I'm eating in the microphone.
You are.
Kara.
Yeah. Also, why is Rick using our white microphone?
Because it's a white thing. It's a white thing, you know.
But then I must be doing pretty good since you're not saying
solidarity.
anything about me.
But anyhow, so they go out there and they're discussing, plans. I mean, and they talk about whether it's preparation for war or war plans them exactly, or the execution of the war plans. Hegseth, the Secretary of Defense, was so specific down to the minute. I mean, like 14:26, which is actually 2:26 in the afternoon. This was going to go out. These F-35s or whatever, so specific, and he's done it on a thread of like 29 individuals in this administration. Not just the high-level individuals, but also the deputies and those.
Right.
Which again, the signal can be hacked. And basically, he's putting this information out there so our actual adversaries get this information if they wanted to, and they're already in the process of hacking. Russia and China definitely want to know this. So we know exactly where our spy planes are, where our assets are. They sold a ground asset out by indicating who they were going to target and his girlfriend. They sold our asset out. They put our fighter pilots in danger. And these assholes have the ability to sit there and basically say, oh, big deal.
Right.
No, that's not what we did. We didn't do that. It wasn't classified information. Bullshit. Where you have veterans coming down and saying, are you fucking kidding me? If I'd been on the receiving end of that, I would have said, this needs to be shut down now. I mean, matter of fact, Tammy Duckworth, who was actually a former helicopter pilot, fighter pilot, basically came out and said, Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of Defense, is a fucking liar. She said it just like that on national television, because that's exactly what he is. And the fact that they're getting away with it is bullshit.
Well, I mean, number one, okay, getting away with it is one thing because it's like you got.
So far, they have.
Well, no, it's like because with that administration, you're going to get away with everything. But you talk.
Well, Trump was like, I don't know what you talk about.
Well, but you talk about the perfect storm where this just basically came to the public.
What if
Because
Biden-
ultimately, we should not have known any of this
What
stuff.
about Well, yeah, because that's the other kicker. The big kicker of it all, besides the fact that they were putting this out there, Waltz, who is the national security director, accidentally included the Atlantic editor of the newspaper. I mean, seriously. First of all, you say he's a sensationalist. He's somebody who actually makes shit up and all
Can you
this.
check our audio? We're out.
I'm
It
out.
just went out.
With what?
The audio.
Then you did something.
No, I didn't do anything.
You had to have.
Are you? I hear you. Yeah, you good? Okay, we're good. We're good.
We're good? Our
Yeah.
audio?
Okay,
We're good? We're good? Good?
Yeah.
Okay.
I had one of our listeners say the audio's out. Check
Well,
your
so-
spam folder.
Because we know who that listener is.
Yeah. So the point being
Check
is,
your
if
spam
she's-
folder.
If she's checking, if she's.
so who decided to put this editor of the Atlantic in there, who apparently the entire administration hates? And how did you actually have him in your phone and inadvertently put him on there, and nobody of the 29 individuals in the administration question it? Mm-hmm. And obviously he held it back for several weeks before he actually even told anybody that he had it. And then, of course, they started calling him a bullshit liar, and he actually had to publish the shit. And sure enough, the National Security Council basically said, yeah, they're pretty legit.
But talking about the perfect storm, because we should not have known anything about this.
Yeah.
Well, can you imagine if the Biden administration does something
Well, no,
like that?
they would have gone. The Republicans would have gone crazy.
Hearings like crazy.
I mean, because they're just like that. But you look at this, and the perfect storm of ignorance or whatever is like, all right, they do this signal chat or whatever. They accidentally, or I don't want to say accidentally, but they ultimately put the Atlantic editor into
there's
chat.
rumors that he did it on purpose. I mean, and I don't know how legit that is. I mean, even some people on one of the things that I posted out there, under my Sunnism, basically are saying, "Oh, this was a a whole setup that just didn't catch the person they wanted to." I'm like, "What the fuck do you mean by that?"
But I mean, but you look at it. Okay, the first thing that happened.
They cut
on
all
this
of them.
Right.
Is that the Atlantic editor got included in all this stuff, so he's seeing all this stuff.
He's
that's going
actually
on.
driving and getting the messages, and he's like, pulls over. He's like, "What the fuck?"
So it's like the day before there's kind of stuff coming out that the Atlantic knows all this stuff is. Then Tulsi Gabbard,
Dumbass,
Radcliffe,
stupid one.
They're in a regular security update to the Senate. And so some of this stuff's has come out, but it's not the whole transcript yet. And so then they're now talking to these people, and they say, well, did this get mentioned? And they're all saying, no, I don't recall that. I don't recall that.
None of it was classified. I don't understand what the DOD classification process is. I've never read that. You're the fucking director of national intelligence, bitch.
So, so then ultimately you get these people in front of the Senate where they're now looking stupid. It's like, no, I don't recall any of this stuff. It wasn't like all this stuff. It's because they didn't expect it to come out. And then
Tulsi Gabbard even said, I don't remember what country I was in. Really?
And then
how about the guy who was on the actual chat who was in Russia?
Right.
Talking to Putin.
So they're playing dumb or whatever because they think they can just kind of get away with it. And then everybody's saying is that this was not classified information.
Right.
And so then that night, then that's when the Atlantic put out everything.
That's what surprises me. Didn't you think that he will put that shit out?
Well, I know because I even told you, it says if they're saying this is nothing's classified here.
See, that's
then
the
it's
kicker.
Like,
That's
then
where they
it's like
fucked up.
The Atlantic could put it out, and
See,
I told you that.
This is where they fucked up because Pete Hestek, what he had actually put out there, he has the ability to declassify that information by them stating, not only on the interviews that he did on his little tour that he was out there, because he was never in front of the center of the house, by them stating nothing was classified, they gave permission to the editor of The Atlantic to publish it.
And so then it gets put out there, and then the next day, these same people are in front of the House.
It's looking stupid.
And now they're trying to say is, well, you said this, this, and this. And it's like what, blah, blah, blah. And so like
I don't
they're
recall. I
back.
said that was yesterday, bitch. See,
So it's like you're talking about the perfect storm of being stupid.
Yeah.
It's like they don't think anything's going to come back
and
to
nobody's head has rolled on this yet.
them. No.
You know,
There
obviously,
won't. What was the guy's name? Not Hescliffe, the other guy. The guy that put him in added him to the Atlantic guy.
well, that's Waltz.
Okay, Waltz. They're talking about Waltz might eventually get.
Yeah, but I mean, he understands he's stepping up to be the scapegoat.
Well, I know.
I mean, a head that's role is going to be his is only because he did add it, and they still don't think they did anything wrong.
Well, but this is the part where it's just like, all right, the extreme MAGAs are never gonna get it.
Well,
or
first of all,
whatever.
they don't
But
understand
it's just like-
classification. They're idiots.
But you look at what if you go through and see what was put out by minute, and they've now had people where they're talking about it because that even makes it even
I'll give you an
stronger.
example
It's like everybody in their right mind knows that this should not have been published.
I'll give you an example of, I mean, and obviously you can go out there and Google it, or you can actually look at TikTok or any of the social media programs of individuals involved in intelligence. But I'll talk about it from one conversation I specifically had in 2017. I'm sorry, 2016. And I was in London at the time with my father. My father was Air Force for 26 years. He actually retired from the Pentagon at the DIA, Defense Intelligence Agency. So he had a top secret clearance.
Right.
And the conversation that I had with him was specifically about General Flynn. You know, General Flynn obviously became the national security advisor to Trump in the first run, and then also got fired because he lied to the FBI and got convicted of it, then eventually got pardoned by Trump.
Right.
But he also was, at one point, the director of the DIA, Defense Intelligence Agency. Obama fired him. And within the next year or so, you know, Flynn was actually having dinner with Putin. So I asked my dad, I was like, do you think there was something nefarious going on there? He goes, there is no way in hell, even as a retired individual who used to be the former director of the DIA, would ever be allowed to sit down and have dinner as a retiree with Putin. There's definitely, and that, and whether they discuss classified information or not, this is 29 individuals in the current administration discussing openly on a commercial, unsecured app of how we're going to bomb Yemen and go after targets.
But I'm also surprised right now why you just mentioned it. It's like, why isn't Flynn part of this go around?
Because they think he's better outside the administration because he's actually got a good pack going on and all this other shit. I mean, he's a good kind of like, they need people outside the administration chomping.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it's like he was like their go-to or whatever, and it's like I was just surprised.
He's psycho.
Well, no, I get that
He's
too.
a psycho fucker. He really is. All right, let's move on from the signal game. Let's talk about the Wisconsin Supreme Court.
The highest funded election.
That's correct. As of now, it stands. Now, again, this is one seat of a state Supreme Court.
You are hungry.
A state Supreme Court, the highest ever. We are now approaching $90 million
Okay.
have been spent.
All right, wait. I got a question. Whose seat came up for this to happen? This election to happen?
It actually was a liberal. That's why they have. This is why it's so big, because if you remember 2 years ago, the liberals won
Yeah.
the balance, so they actually end up with the actual majority. The liberal who's up is now.
So they only they're termed.
That is correct.
Okay.
Yeah. So now you have a MAGA, extreme MAGA, who's running for it, as well as a liberal who is a liberal. There's no doubt about it. I mean, there's no ifs, ands around it, but you can't get around it. She's a liberal. And, but you have Elon Musk himself has put $40 million into the actual race. $40 million. Now, if that doesn't tell you that he's trying to buy a fucking election so they can see, they're accusing the Supreme Court judge who's a liberal, if she gets in, that once they get in, they're going to do gerrymandering across the state, which is exactly what the Republicans do every time they get into office.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, we can do it, but you can't. So fuck you. But $90 million, and she's got just as much money. She has $24 million that has been pumped into her campaign as well. It's just absolutely ludicrous. I mean, can we take at least, I don't know, 30 million of that and just give it to some poor people? I mean, Jesus freaking Christ. I mean, you're trying to buy elections here. Trump was bought by Elon for $245 million.
Well, I mean, I'm going to change the subject just a little real quick or whatever, because it's like you mentioned gerrymandering. It's just like, I mean, because right now it's just like everybody
Please
goes
slow down
tick
some.
for tack or whatever. But it's just like the American people just need to go and say we're against gerrymandering. Because you get rid of gerrymandering, that gets rid of a lot of shit in this country. Because then you're going to get normal people.
You can say it, but how are you going to get rid of it?
Well, it's like everybody needs to fight. Every state needs to fight to get rid of gerrymandering.
No, it needs to be actually instituted in law. What happens is they end up bullshitting these individuals. I mean, Trump is a prime example. He said he's going to do this, this, and this, and he's basically saying, fuck it, I ain't doing that.
Well, I know.
That's exactly what these Republican politicians do at the state houses. They say they're going to do it, they didn't do it. And all of a sudden, they rewrite all the districts in every single one. Have you seen the districts here in the state of Texas? I mean, they look like, one looks like a fucking donkey. One looks like a we won't talk about what it looks like. I mean, it's just ridiculous.
No, I know.
There's nothing rhyme or reason. All it is making sure that they are predominantly Republican in this category, Republican there. Oh, we're going to toss one over there for the blacks.
Yeah. Oh, I get that. That's why it's like if you could focus all your energy to get rid of gerrymandering, that would take care of a lot of these problems.
The question that I have, and maybe this is even a little bit towards you, not a lot towards you, Alex, but a little question towards you, is all this information is readily available. Anybody who has
Nobody looks for it.
It's propaganda.
No,
it's whatever
not.
is available.
It's not. There's actual data about that. This talks about this, and even common sense. Pull up the fucking district map of Texas right now.
When was the last time anybody in this world went to a library to read shit
Well, you don't have
and
to
actually learn something?
Everything is digitized.
Yeah, but it's
don't-
pushed to you on what you put.
Well, if you go to the schools, their books are bound.
Then take a step and dig deeper.
But this is the
No,
part.
true.
But I'm just talking.
Everybody's about clickbait bullshit. I mean, get over it. I mean, that's basically
That
saying
ain't.
that's what you're basically saying is like you're a sucker.
No, I am.
You got to get past that. Be educated. Be
So-
a good American and do your job.
So this week, because last time we did the podcast, you were kind of like down on Trump.
well,
are
he
you
was
ba-
down
are you-
on his finances.
But are you back on his bandwagon?
No, bro. Everything is tanking
And why is that?
because Americans are scared.
Why?
Why are they
Because-
scared?
The stock's down, the tariff thing.
Why are that? What caused all that?
Donald Trump?
Exactly. The guy you elected.
And then who's before the election said is, oh, he's not going to get rid of the Department of Education.
No, they of course they would.
Well, you're
They're
saying
gonna-
that now, but before then you said no, he's not.
You know the shocking thing about this, and it happened in 2016, and it happened now in 2024. The candidates on the Democrat side, whether you like them or not, what they said was going to happen is exactly what's happening.
That's true. I'll give you that.
And I'm like, you didn't learn from 2026, so you had to fucking do it again?
Let's do some Charlie Kirk. Let me know your thoughts on this.
Oh, he's an asshole.
Charlie Kirk.
Here we go.
South. Welcome to the SEC. How do you like it here? It's good? All right. So let me give you a little context first, okay?
Why being homeless
Hold
is
it.
a choice.
Okay. Let me give you a little context. So my family, right? We are blue collar. That's what we did forever. My mom worked for construction. My dad worked for construction. My stepdad worked for construction, okay? I'll ride motorcycles.
Let's
I'll
debate.
tote guns, myself included on occasion. That's how we go, okay? I hear you. I've heard you say a couple of times that you want to talk about the issues that Americans really care about, right? Number one thing polled is the economy, every single time. I've heard you talk about DEI. I've heard you talk about how you feel like white straight men are under attack in this country. Listen,
Bullshit.
I know a lot of white straight men who are struggling right now. So I completely agree with you on that, right? But I do want to ask a couple questions, right? So for
Write that
That's
down.
not the
yeah,
white. That's not
right?
the white men that they are
About
caring about.
Americans
that
though.
down.
They care
Tall,
about the millionaires and
blonde hair,
billionaires.
Ladies man. I'm getting there. Y'all hold down. Okay, so
He's like,
in
wrap it up.
construction,
You
right?
got to get to the question.
He's in construction, right? It's not going well because of these tariffs on lumber from Canada. It's not going well. What would you say to him? This guy, he served his country as a veteran. He served his country to do Katrina relief support. He's been in construction for 20 years. He's really struggling right now to make ends meet and to build houses like he needs to. And it's affecting our family. And I know a lot of people like him. What would you say to a person like him?
Well, first of all, let me go back to something you said. DEI absolutely affects the economy because it makes our companies less competitive and our best people are not able to get jobs in corporations.
You're an
Number two,
idiot.
The economy is going to get better. Give President Trump some time. All of a sudden, we're seeing inflation go down. The
No,
Fed
we're
is
not.
signaling they might cut rates. He's deregulating
They
the
didn't.
economy. We're seeing a huge tax cut come, and we're going to see a massive housing boost in this country
Well,
come.
okay, but-
And last thing, the first
last
time
thing.
Trump was president, people like your dad did way better than they did under Joe Biden. And so he'll do it again.
I'm going to stop you right there.
Oh wait, you just stopped.
Oh, well, I'm just
I
trying to...
want-
But I want to
Yeah.
know what her.
So first of all, I hope that people who did well under Trump's first term did amazing. He was not one of those people.
Thank
I'll
you.
also say that, so I work for homeless shelters on the side, right? See a lot of people who are homeless. We've got a major issue with homelessness in this country. The solution does
Veterans.
seem to build more homes. Now, not every
Oh,
homeless
let's cut
person's
80,000
condition
people
is
from the
the same.
Veterans Administration.
Not every
You're
homeless
wrong.
person's
More
condition
homes
is the
does
same.
not solve homelessness. You're wrong.
More affordable housing does.
No.
It doesn't solve all of it, but
No,
it does help
you're totally
people
wrong.
who need help.
No, it doesn't. It's telling them you can't go defecate on the side of the street, clean up,
Oh
get
my
out of here.
God.
and put
So
in a prison
so
cell.
hold on now. You
They're,
think that you
they're
think
homeless
that
by choice.
No, you need to
They are.
understand this. You need to understand this right now.
There's
Not
Section 8
every
housing
single
for every
homeless
single one of them.
people.
It's because they either have deep-seated mental issues and they should be in an asylum, or number two, they have drug issues, or number three, they're there by choice.
So
it is
all-
not a lack of
so
homes why we have
all the people
homelessness.
that I know who do work, who are homeless, who are working out of their car, who are working for double the minimum wage and still cannot afford their homes because of debts from the 2008 crisis. All of those good people, you think that they are
So-
all mentally ill and not deserving of having homes?
So did they apply for Section 8 housing?
Absolutely, they didn't get it. There's
Well,
not enough.
There's an abundance of Section 8 housing. in this
Absolutely
country.
not in every area.
Then why is
Not
Trump
here.
wanting to build more?
100%
I
not.
reject the premise. Homelessness is a choice in this country.
I think that
I
you're
reject you,
unclear
Charlie
about
Kirk.
the facts in certain areas.
So
I
let me
will
get this right.
say that some
so
areas
someone
do
working
have it.
working 2 jobs.
No,
in-
not 2 jobs. Twice the minimum wage in Tennessee. Tennessee, the minimum wage is $7.50. They make $14
So
an hour, 40
hold on,
hours
let
a
me
week.
play this out. So they
Yeah.
have a family,
They have a family,
and their whole family's homeless.
not the whole family.
So
the
let-
kids are with the
so
grandparents.
I'm going to call
they
BS
can't
on this
afford.
whole thing. Wait a second. So they're earning $14.50 an hour.
$14.50 an hour.
Or $7.50 is the minimum wage. So $15 an hour, right?
Do you know the average rent in the area?
Hold on a second. I'm going to get to there. Hold
Okay.
on. $15 an hour, and they're working like what, 7-8 hours a day, right?
Yeah, 40 a week.
Okay, so like $120 a day, right? So they're getting like $600 a week. That's like $2,400 a month. So they could also get food stamps. They could get Medicaid insurance, and they could also get welfare, having their income level under $60,000 a year, of which that would total them $76,000 a year. You're trying to tell me in the greater Knoxville area, there's not an apartment that they could put themselves and their family for $76,000 a year? You know what? They probably have a drug problem, which
Let
is where all
me
that
a-
money
no,
is
let
going.
me ask you
Because I just called
something,
BS on that
Let- no,
entire
let-
mathematical
let me ask
equation.
you something,
It doesn't
though.
exist.
Your bill, the Republicans' bill that they're trying to pass, they're trying to cut food stamps. They're trying to cut WIC. So what do you have to say about that? Yeah, if people are living on
Yeah.
a shoestring about it, what are they going to do now that those helping things are gone?
First and foremost, it should be a safety net, not a hammock. And yes, we absolutely should means test this. People who are able to work should work, and we should not subsidize people that endlessly leech off of the
I
federal
100%
government. Period.
Agree. What I'm
Which the
saying
majority
is
of them
that
are
there
white women.
People who do work.
Yeah, but by choice or not?
No, there's not by choice.
That's what I thought. Yeah,
No.
that's what I think. I agree. Sorry.
It's not by choice. I mean, but the majority of the individuals who are actually collecting some sort of form of entitlement programs
Right.
are white women. Simple as that.
I mean, Charlie Kirk, yay or nay, but like, I mean,
Nay.
those are thought-provoking topics, I think.
Well, I mean, just on the homeless thing. Let's talk about the veterans. The fact of the matter is, we are basically turning our backs on the veterans.
I agree with that.
And I'm not just talking about what Trump's about to do and just cutting the staffing there, cutting the veterans who are trying to help the veterans,
Right.
Which is kind of ridiculous in itself of itself. But the fact of the matter is, even Biden and Obama didn't do enough. Because the fact of the matter is, I mean, and we're talking about somebody who comes from a military family, and I've had to fight for my father's benefits because they were basically just pencil pulling this shit. Oh yeah, he even though he has cancer that he will never recover from, they basically just, okay, he's recovered. He loses all 100% of his disability. What the fuck?
Yeah.
That's not true. I had to literally jump through hoops. The bottom line is they make things difficult.
Because
that's
they
why-
do that so people won't do.
and they become homeless.
Yeah.
I mean, especially if they have mental illnesses, PTSD. It's real. It's a real fucking thing.
It is.
We sent them into war, and the shit that they saw, the shit that they experienced, the shit that they had to do. I mean, nobody should ever have to experience that stuff as a human being.
Right.
The fact is, veterans, and we can just talk about veterans all day long, all night long. That in itself is a homeless situation that is out of control, and it's not simply because they want to be or they don't have the help. They don't have the help because nobody in the Veterans Administration is going to be there anymore to assist them to get into
But
the limited
this
housing.
is where then I struggle. Because you had a lot of veterans that voted for Trump.
Absolutely.
And so,
Like Latinos. Remember the fucking
yeah,
picture?
you
And they're
got
getting
all
deported
these
now.
people that are doing this, and there's like everything's going wrong for them or whatever. I feel sorry for them. Well, I feel wait, no. Let me take that back.
Reframe
I
that.
feel bad for them, but I don't feel sorry for
No,
them.
I feel bad for those individuals who did not understand the process and didn't vote for him that are
Well,
now
no.
caught into the loop of it.
Well, no, but
Now,
it's like,
I
yeah.
don't. I like you said Latinos. I don't give a shit if they voted for him and all of a sudden, as a permanent resident, they're being deported because they have like one different thing on their social media or whatever. They're being kicked out of the country and their permanency is being taken away. I can give a shit. They voted for him. You fucking suck it up.
Oh, I agree. And that's where it's like I feel bad for them, but I don't feel sorry for them because
All those
they
women-
got what all they got.
All those men and women who are actually in the government and they're actually voted for him, and all of a sudden they're losing their jobs. Say, "Well, I didn't vote for this." Well, bitch, you did.
Yeah, you did.
That's what you voted for. Suck it up.
You see all these videos that are coming out now because it's like this one couple, they got married where she's not legal. They went on their honeymoon, and then it's like she couldn't get back in the country, or when she got back, she got detained or whatever because she's not legal or whatever. And
Well,
everybody,
she probably outstayed the last visa.
and then it's just like all these people get what they deserve.
Yeah, I mean, there's people who are in this country legally, whether it be a student visa, whether it be residency, whether it be through job, sponsorship, whatever it may be. They're all being deported.
But it's like now people that even if they're legal in their visas, and it's like if they do something that Trump doesn't like, they're going to pull their visa.
Let's talk about, as an American citizen, how they say that if you leave the country, make sure that you take a burner phone and do not have anything on your phone that is negative against Trump, because they're going to look at your phone.
That's crazy.
And they're either going to flip through it because they say do not actually have biometrics. So don't use your finger and don't use your face. Make sure there's a password and make sure it's a difficult password, because by law they actually have to get a court order to give you that, to get that password to get that phone open. But they can also then take your phone and attach it to a computer system, which is high tech, and read every fucking thing in there.
Right.
So you
Guess
obviously
what?
That's why I said everything in pictures.
Guess what? He's not coming back from Aruba.
That's why-
I may not be
That's
going.
why I don't describe my dick. I just send it a picture. Like, here it is.
It's all over the cloud, boo.
Can I skinny dip in your pool when you're in Aruba?
It's not my pool.
But yes.
No. So, but I mean, my point being is like American citizens, and it's primarily happening to those who actually have a hint of color to their skin. The majority is that's happening.
Okay.
And that's
I think
the
we-
sad
yeah.
situation is, they're profiling people and they're making it legal.
Right.
I mean, you actually have individuals in the Customs and Border Patrol who are actually of color descent, of minority, who are being told this is what you need to do.
Right.
And it's crazy that we are in this type of almost Gestapo type situation.
Yeah, that's
You
nuts.
know, I can't, be open-minded. I can't say what I want to say. I can't have free speech. The interesting thing about it is, leading up to the election, that's what they were all about. Oh, we can't have freedom of religion. We can't have
Right.
freedom of speech, and that's exactly what they're doing. They're trying to take it all away from us.
Yep.
Yeah,
Well,
so
but
if you're
he
not,
was-
if
he
you don't
was
think like
say-
us,
he was saying the stuff at the end that's just like, okay,
well, he's also admitted he was just like, oh, I was just joking.
I know, but it's like he didn't
I
say
was
that
just,
at the time.
I was just saying it, just say it. He's already admitted that in interviews since he's been elected and sworn in. I mean, if that doesn't open you MAGA people's eyes, I don't know what the hell
It
is.
won't. I mean, if you're the pure MAGAs, you're never going to change. But then the ones that were on the fence, that it's like they thought,
Well, I
because
want
it's
to,
like,
and I'm going to leave this as a very generic question. I want to know how everybody who is in education is accepting that the Department of Education has been
They're not. They go to work, and that's what they're told.
no. Now that the Department
I
of
didn't let you
Education
finish your
actually has an
sentence.
executive order to actually break it down, and the actual Secretary of Education is in the process of stripping that away, and all the money supposedly going back to the state, I'm just kind of curious on how some people who are working in the education department feel about that now.
Yeah.
Because I actually had conversations with people who were in the education department prior to the election and saying that would be a stupid thing to do. Well, it's going to happen.
Well, we have a listener right now that's just called in. Caller, what do you think? What do you think? Caller? They must have lost the connection. So we'll hear them next time. And for next time, we'll hear about how shitty teachers have it.
Well, the teachers had it shitty in the first place.
no, they did.
Because I mean, they're the way they actually have the nucleus of the federal money going out into the state already, which it was. Now who's going to manage that money and how it's funneled out there?
Right.
The state governments and Texas in particular mismanage it like everything. They never put it in the right spot, and they never actually did it for education. They did it for other port projects and what have you. So there's a reason why I think Texas is number 48 in education. I mean, it's that simple.
Sounds simple. So we're an hour and a half
my
in, by
high
the way.
school. I mean, when I went to high school,
Jesus Christ, you remember that far back?
yeah, my high school was ranked in like the top 10 in the country.
Yeah, but that was like 60 years ago.
40 years ago.
He had to calculate.
I had to
back.
think that 45 years ago.
Yeah, he had to calculate back and think there for a second.
Yep. So are we wrapping up this one?
Yeah,
We're an hour and a half in, man.
We're definitely so. So I mean, what do we got here? How much longer we got? How much money? How many minutes are we on here?
We're an hour and a half.
Yeah, we want to really kind of keep it more to an hour. So don't talk too much next time.
Well, we
It's like
covered
the drama
everything.
queen. You can never make him happy. Oh, you don't talk enough. Or no, you talk too much.
Well, I can't always be the star.
He's never happy.
Oh, God.
I'm never
But anyways,
happy.
thanks for our second live stream. And if you did watch and you didn't, that's okay. You can.
We know
actually-
somebody did because they kept bringing their. We know who
Well,
it was.
it's recorded. It'll be on our YouTube channel. It'll eventually be on all the other platforms as well. Thanks for actually listening to us on Buddies and Banters, the Uncensored Podcast. I'm Rick.
I'm Michael.
I'm Alex. Next time, Gus would just say the gin is premium.
He's not. It's like no. It's like he does whatever we want,
I know.
and he tries to make it work out at the end. But y'all must have drank a hell of a lot.
Trash that up.
And then it's like he was trying to make it work, and then it's like I don't think y'all probably had too much to drink to understand what Gus
Yeah.
was trying to say.